Tonight on Bridge City News, the National Guard moves in to quell the chaos. The riots and rage overtake several states. What we know about George Floyd and the former Minneapolis officer charged in his death. Plus the debate about funding the World Health Organization after the U.S. pulls out. And a surprise for one little boy in Lethbridge. For his birthday, over 100 motorcycles rode out to celebrate his special day.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News Weekend Edition.
Good evening, I'm Loris Alexander. Thank you for joining us. The fire and the fury in the streets of Minneapolis overnight as violence broke out during protests over the killing of George Floyd. The latest death of a Black American at the hands of police officers has ignited uprisings in at least 30 states. But the vandalism and clashes with riot police have taken the spotlight off the calls for racial justice. There are concerns the destruction is being fueled by instigators taking advantage of the Black community's grief and outrage. In Minneapolis, the governor called in the National Guard.
We are in a position of strength significantly greater tonight in Minneapolis and St. Paul than we were last night. Currently ongoing missions for the Minnesota National Guard are 10 ongoing with another 5 missions in planning stages and pre-execution. We're fully integrated and unified with law enforcement, fire, emergency management systems, and all of our state agencies to ensure the safety of our citizens in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the surrounding communities. We know there's a long way to go tonight. We're prepared for that. Your citizen soldiers stand fast to support the citizens of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Thank you.
Thousands marched in Toronto yesterday in response to the death of a young Black woman. Regis Kurchinski-Paquette fell from the balcony from her apartment while officers were inside. A lawyer for the family says her mother called 911 out of concern because her daughter was in distress over a family conflict. The incident is now being investigated by Ontario's police watchdog. Despite being the hardest hit by COVID-19, the U.S. is severing all ties with the World Health Organization. Its primary role is to lead the response to global health issues like the pandemic. But U.S. President Donald Trump has been critical of the organization's handling of the virus. And the U.S. is the biggest financial supporter. So now other countries, including Canada, could be asked to fill in the gap.
Because they have failed to make the requested and greatly needed reforms, we will be today terminating our relationship with the World Health Organization and redirecting those funds to other worldwide and deserving urgent global public health needs. The world needs answers from China on the virus. For years, the government of China has conducted illicit espionage to steal our industrial secrets, of which there are many. Today, I will issue a proclamation to better secure our nation's vital university research and to suspend the entry of certain foreign nationals from China who we have identified as potential security risks.
Alberta Health announced 13 new lab-confirmed COVID-19 cases in the province as of Saturday, bringing the total number of active cases to 604 and the total number of confirmed cases to 6,992. The province reported 1 additional death. Alberta Health said testing is now available to all Albertans, whether they have COVID-19 symptoms or not. When the thought of large corporations comes to mind, with some people, there is a perception of greed. In our next story, video journalist Naveen Day says the COVID-19 response efforts have given companies opportunities to offer relief where it's needed most.
For some auto insurance policyholders, you may have received an unexpected check in the mail. Alberta policyholders with certain companies are receiving rebates in the mail due to less risk on the road. For example, companies like Allstate Insurance have allocated more than $30 million as part of their stay-at-home payment.
We never intended on keeping the money. We knew it was just a matter of time giving it back to our clients. We just needed to figure out how and when. On top of that, we've also done payment deferrals, free legal advice for any of our clients, and it doesn't even have to be insurance related. We're also extending coverage to Canadians that need to do other sources of employment with their vehicle, whether it be skip the dishes, delivering medication, doing essential services. That way, we're actually extending at no extra cost to any of our clients' auto coverage. This is not a program that any of our clients had to sign up for. They didn't have to be in the know. We automatically had them registered because it's the right thing to do.
It is not just insurance companies that are offering a hand. Tenants who are having trouble with rent payments or in isolation are receiving help as well.
What we've offered is some flexible payment terms around either a semi-monthly or a weekly payment, which often ties in with any CERB payments or EI payments that people might be receiving at the moment. And I'm really proud of our regional teams as well. We've put together task forces within our communities. So if someone reaches out and they're having a problem, such as their ability to go and get food, we've got people that are willing to go and collect groceries on people's behalf. If someone's self-isolating and they've got a pet, for example, we're offering, a dog walking service. And we're also doing a lot more resident wellness checks. So making sure that particularly our elderly clients, if we're in the building, we're just taking a stop, taking a pause, knocking on the door and asking people how they're doing.
For Bridge City News, I'm Naveen Day.
A woman lost her eye after a parasite found lurking in tap water became stuck behind her contact lens. 31-year-old Sam Hart paid a heavy price for missing some of the fine print.
I get covered in hair, spit, fur, that's hair. I get covered in everything. And I come home and I wash my face or I jump in the shower.
Hart says she followed protocol when it came to her contact lenses.
When I got my contacts, I read the boxes, I followed what I was taught, and I was never told why or what was in the water. I was told to not wear contacts in water or I could lose one. And I was like, oh, well, if I close my eyes in water when I wash my face, I should be okay. And I didn't know that there's parasites, bacteria, viruses, and fungus all in tap water.
On Canada Day in 2018, Hart says it looked like she had pink eye.
I woke up the next morning and my right eye was not okay. It was nearly swollen shut. It was so painful. I couldn't even keep it open. I was totally blind in both eyes. And we didn't know if I would get sight back, which is really scary.
Some of these organisms are very difficult to grow in the lab, and it can be quite confusing. And so sometimes we almost have to treat for different possibilities. I think in her case there was some thoughts of could this be a fungal infection? There were still thoughts about maybe it could be a viral infection early on, but that was sort of ruled out. And then the one that we're most concerned about is one called acanthamoeba, which is the one that can be found in tap water. And I think that is what Samantha had. Unfortunately, it caused a devastating infection in her eyes. She ended up getting a corneal transplant in her right eye, and that eye is doing well. Her left eye also needed a corneal transplant, and then that transplant failed, and she needed another transplant, and she's still having ongoing issues with her eyes and her vision, unfortunately.
I didn't know what was in the water, and if I would have known what was in the water, I would have treated everything so much differently.
It was a surprise like no other for 2-year-old Hunter. Over 100 motorcyclists met at the Logan Boulet Arena to ride off to celebrate his life. Lethbridge MP Rachel Harder also made an appearance for the celebration, dropping off a present for the birthday boy. Aside from motorcycles, our garbage truck also made an appearance, along with sports cars, as family, friends, and neighbors enjoy the festivities. The Commandos Motorcycle Club, who organized the event, say their only request was a non-perishable food item for the Lethbridge Food Bank. Secret Meal Heroes was started by a Lethbridge woman who wanted to bring the community together and spread joy through food. The idea of the group is to make a meal basket for a randomly picked secret meal hero. You would then drop the meal off at someone's doorstep to brighten their day.
I just started thinking how food is such a universal need, and a lot of us are struggling for it right now. And I thought, why not make one where we drop off meals to each other that either we need or is on a wish list of ours, and build that connection and help feed each other one meal at a time. It may be a simple thing to say, but truly every act of kindness does make a difference, and I am a strong believer in that.
Lacombe also encourages people to dress up as heroes when the meal is delivered to help bring a smile to someone's face.
5, 4.
You're watching history in the making. SpaceX has become the first private company to launch humans into orbit. 2 NASA astronauts are on board the Falcon 9 rocket, marking the first human space flight from the U.S. in nearly a decade. And it almost didn't happen. On Wednesday, bad weather halted the mission 17 minutes before liftoff. It will take 19 hours for the crew to reach the International Space Station. NASA reports at least 1.14 million viewers tuned in online to watch the high-stakes launch. The company behind the mission is owned by Elon Musk, the same guy who brought you Tesla. And this mission takes space exploration to a new level. Recapping one of our top news stories, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that he is immediately halting the decades-long U.S. membership in the World Health Organization over its response to China's handling of the coronavirus pandemic. And a look at weekend weather. Parts of Alberta are under threat of severe thunderstorms as well as heavy rain. Today in Lethbridge, mainly sunny with cloudy periods and a high of 20. And Monday, a mix of sun and clouds and a high of 22. It's a sensitive topic to navigate, but how do you approach sex education with kids? BCN's Jeanette Roche spoke with Donna Trimble, the Executive Director of Parents for Choice in Education, about sex education and gender studies in schools. That interview is coming up next.